We're going to go over exercise 2, which is our last example. Over here, we're looking at which political party would you expect to express the most happiness about their life. So over here, we have a list from 2004 with the categories being the happiness over here. And the levels are very happy, pretty happy, not too happy. And then we have the political parties. We have liberal, moderate, and conservative, or rather the direction. So our explanatory variable is the political party affiliation, which is a categorical variable, and the response variable is the happiness, which is also categorical. This is an observational study. We're simply collecting data. We are not imposing some kind of treatment. We're simply checking, like, what political party do you belong to, and how happy would you describe yourself. So this is an observational study, and therefore we're going to do a chi-square test of independence. So let me fill in the table, and then we're going to look at the chi-square distribution. So I'm going to go with the totals over here. So we had a total of 318 liberals. We had a total of 495 moderates and 493 conservatives, for a total of 1,307. Of those people, we had 405 who were very happy, 726 who were pretty happy, and 175 who were not too happy. When we find those expected values, we're going to do 318 times 405 divided by 1,307. So again, that has to do with the fact that we have frequencies, not relative frequencies. But when we looked at the contingency tables for our probabilities, we simply multiplied those marginal probabilities in order to get the joint probabilities. So 318 times 405 divided by 1,307 gives us 98.6. Now we multiply 495 times 405 divided by 1,307 to get 153.5. Then we multiply 493 times 405 divided by 1,307. That gives us 152.9. And so on. We do that for every row and column. So now we would do the pretty happy column and multiply it times each. So 318 times 726 divided by the grand total gives us 176.8. 495 times 726 divided by the total is 275.2. And so on, again, calculating that difference for each of them. Then our next step would be to calculate the different contribution, which is going to be our actual values, so our observed values, minus the expected values. So for the first very happy and liberal, that was 90. So 90 minus 98.6 would be negative 8.6. We would then square that value and then divide by the expected value in order to give us the contribution. So I'm not going to go through each of these calculations, but I do want to show you how to set it up on the Ti-84. Now we're going to enter everything in the calculator. This one has to be entered as a matrix. So we're going to go second x inverse, in blue letters says matrix. We are going to do matrix A, and we are going to edit it first. So we're going to hit enter. We want a 3 by 3 matrix, so just the numbers, not the totals on the just the 3 rows and 3 columns. So I'm going to enter in the numbers. So the first one is, 90. The second number was 120 moderates. Then we had 187 conservatives that were very happy. In the second row over here, we had 177, then 291, 258 in the pretty happy category. And then the not so happy, we had 51, 76, and 48. We're going to quit out of that by going second mode. Then we're going to go stat test, and this is a chi-square test. So we're going to arrow down to option C. Our observed values are in A. Our expected values are going to be in B, which will auto-populate. We're going to go calculate. Over here, our test statistic was 22.454. And our p-value is, in scientific notation over here, is 0.00016, or rounded to 4 decimals would be 0.0002. Last thing to note is the degrees of freedom, which are 4. Remember, we had 3 groups over here, 3 levels of happiness, and 3 different political party groups. So again, taking the number of rows minus 1, that would be 2, and the number of columns minus 1, that's also 2, and then multiplying those together in order to get the degrees of freedom. So we're going to enter that over here. And again, we had chi-square was 22.454. Our p-value is 0.00016. So again, rounded to 4 decimals. The 1 would round to a 2. That is less than 0.05, which means we are going to reject the null. And therefore, our null was that these 2 variables are independent. Since we're rejecting that, there is sufficient evidence that political party and happiness are dependent. Or are not independent, or are dependent. And maybe just to show you one last thing, when we go back to our matrix menu, if we go down to matrix B, which was auto-populated, if we hit enter, it's going to give us that matrix. If we go to math, enter, it's going to put that into fraction form for us, so it's a little easier to see. So again, that was the calculation that was done by taking the row and column totals, dividing it by the grand total in order to get those joined probabilities or joined frequencies.